Welcome back to In the Cards and Stars. I'm your host, Britt Madrid Mogensen. And in this podcast episode, we are going to be talking about the Selena Gomez wedding event chart. All right, I mentioned this on one of our live streams, and you guys were pretty intrigued about what this could mean. And I promised that we would be getting into it, and here we are. So, what is an event chart? Let's start there. It's basically a birth chart of an event where, just like somebody's natal chart, it can tell you a lot about that energy. So, when we're talking about a wedding, we want to get this natal chart that's a snapshot of where all the planets were at the day of the wedding. And if you can get the exact time of the vows, perfect. If not, a noon chart is highly recommended and it'll give you a lot of great information. So for Benny and Selena, I went ahead and plugged in all of the details of their wedding, which was, of course, September 27th, 2025 in Santa Barbara, California. So when I did that, we got all of this information just like you would if it was the birth of somebody that you're putting all their info in. And what this is going to tell us is like, what are the strengths of the marriage? Where are they going to thrive? What's the purpose of these two people uniting? It can tell us, I mean, honestly, everything so much. Just wait till we get into it. It also can tell us about what we need to look out for, challenges. And I highly recommend if you're planning a wedding or if you're already married and you want to look back and see, okay, is this accurate? Because that's always fun to do astrology in the wild moments. I love to like confirm the astrology later. It's always so like affirming and exciting. You can do your own wedding. Oh my gosh, okay, these are the reasons that we have some of these challenges and also how to fix certain things and then where we're really strong and where we should lean into certain things in our life because it strengthens our bond. So it just gives you so much information to improve your life and just kind of give you the tea, right? You can also do transits and make predictions about your marriage, just like you would a person. But that is, in a nutshell, how a wedding event chart works. Also, in astrology, you can do a business launch, the signing of a contract. I mean, really anything, the founding of a country, and it's going to give you all that information. So, in the members only and Patreon for this week, I'm actually going to be telling you guys how to do it. I'm going to be explaining it and explaining how to interpret it so that you guys can do it for yourselves. And I'm going to be using Lawyer Moog and I's wedding up for an example. And I do have the exact time because I was there. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys. It is frequently accurate, and hopefully that'll also give you guys more insight into how to use this. So let's dive right in. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. Now, I'll be honest, I was skeptical when I saw that they were getting married on the 27th because in numerology, and this is a separate thing, right? We're talking about astrology today, but I just want to side note some numerology because it all, it always goes together. It all kind of is rolled up into one energy. But 27 is a 9 energy, and that's about transformation. And I was born on 9/9, so no hate to the nines. Love everything, love cloud 9, love all that. However, transformation isn't always easy, right? Think about what transformation is about. Think about a caterpillar into a butterfly. Well, the stage of transformation can be uncertain or painful. The phoenix rising, you know, you got to rise from the ashes though, but the process to get down to the ashes, it's not fun, right? So I was like, ooh, I am a little concerned. We did a reading, we pulled the cards, we spilled the tarot tea as we do around here. And the reading was definitely focused on transformation, karmic themes. I got the Hierophant card specifically. That was one that really stuck out to me because that is a card of marriage, but karmic lessons in marriage. And this event chart, like, it was one of those moments where I was like, "Oh my gosh, the Hierophant card," like, it confirmed that tarot reading. So I wanna start right there, and then we will just flow through it because there's some really interesting stuff here that can tell us more about Benny and Selena behind the scenes, why they got together, what this marriage is gonna be like for them, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so first and foremost, the Hierophant. I mean, this is crazy, you guys. So they actually have Saturn and the North Node in the fourth house in their event chart, in their wedding chart. That is a big time destiny because Saturn is staying power. Saturn is also life lessons, just like the Hierophant card, and learning lessons through marriage. In the fourth house, this is about home and family. I mean, I'm geeking out right now. So this is about home and family, learning lessons through building a home together, through literally the marriage. So that is, I mean, the Hierophant card, like fully described. I can't even talk. I'm so excited about this one. And then we have the North Node there as well. And so the North Node tells us what we're destined to move towards in this life. So this truly is a karmic destined relationship. I mean, where we have our North Node is where we go. It's where we are meant to explore and learn. And it truly where we grow. So this relationship looks like it was definitely destined to be together. They were destined to build a home together, a life. It's going to have staying power with Saturn there. This is a couple that is going to thrive on commitment, and their relationship will continue to improve and get stronger and stronger the more they build that strong, steady foundation of a home base together. So very, very interesting. That's just crazy. But this is tied to the themes of family, home, and responsibility. And if we look at their actual birth chart, the fourth house for them is ruled by Pisces. And having Saturn and the North Node in a Pisces fourth house is very interesting because Pisces is all about going with the flow and creativity, emotions, and feelings. So, this will be a house and a home that is creative, that's a safe space for emotions. It might be the home that people go to when they're like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out. I'm going through something. I'm going to go to Benny and Selena's. Like, that's the kind of energy that this house is gonna have. That's like the general vibe. It's a soft landing place with the Pisces energy ruling the fourth house of home for their marriage. Next up, let's start at the top with their first house. So the first house is the way that they appear on the outside, the way that they appear as a married couple. So when people first meet them, this is how they come across. Whenever we see them together on a red carpet or see them do a shared interview or even just think of them together in our minds, this is what the first house describes. Okay. So this is their combined energy. That's the context we're looking at things in. So the first house for the two of them as a married couple is ruled by Sagittarius, which I thought was really, really interesting, especially given the vibe of like Selena's wedding dress, which we will get to. We can see that in here too. But not surprising because I did see some photos of Benny Blanco barefoot. So, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is bohemian vibes. So this is going to be a couple that travels a lot. They may, spend a lot of time overseas. Sagittarius is the world traveler, the philosopher. So as a couple, the more time they spend together, the more they will be inspired to get into that Sagittarian energy. They're going to be doing things together, maybe even, I mean, who knows? The sky's the limit. They could write a book together. Ninth house is the traditional ruler of Sagittarius. So that's like publishing and international relations and travel and this kind of bohemian spirit. One thing that can be a little bit tricky when we're talking about a marriage chart, having Sagittarius as the rising sign energy, is that they have to be really careful that they don't that this doesn't become a bad thing where they end up wanting to go in two separate directions on their bohemian journeys. So like this would give a lot of independence to the couple, which can be a really great thing. It's great because then both people don't lose their identity in the marriage, right? Very positive. But on the negative side, having a first house ruled by Sagittarius, when we're talking about a couple's marriage, because Sagittarius is such an independent, hard to pin down sign by nature, they're going to have to really work at staying on the same page. And that makes a lot of sense because one of the things that we learned about Benny Blanco during this whole press tour that they did for their shared album was that he's afraid of flying. And Selena Gomez, she flies all over the world, right? And she's been doing that for a really long time. She has her not only music career, but also Rare Beauty and a lot of different promotional things that she has to do here, there, and everywhere. So I could actually see how if they're not careful about coordinating their schedules, how there could be some actual conflict there or some hurt feelings because we have the moon in their first house. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is that the moon in your first house, on a very positive note, gives this couple a we wear our heart on our sleeve type of energy, which is nice. And I think that we did see that when they did like shared interviews. Like Selena Gomez seemed to get more emotional and a little bit, I don't know, like people are different when they get emotional. Like some people get emotional and they get like louder. Some people get emotional and they get like they go kind of into themselves and it makes them a little shy because it like means a lot to them. I think I'm more like that, by the way, but so I can relate to, like, the way that Selena was sort of acting. I could sort of see that. I'm like, "Okay, I kinda get what she's doing here." She's, like, feeling emotional, so she's sort of, like, withdrawing a little bit. Now with the moon in Sagittarius, though, in their first house, this is not something that they will probably be doing now that they're married. This would be like, them being very honest about how they feel, about what's going on for them, very outspoken even. So the marriage actually lightens them both up in a way. Sagittarius is a fire sign as well. So this is a fiery type of energy. I do think that this is gonna support them in being more hard on your sleeve. So whereas in the past, maybe Selena would kind of go within when it comes to feeling emotional, she might actually become more outspoken about her deeper feelings. And also like not just negative things, but like positive things. Like she might talk about how happy she is, how excited she is. She might be more open about certain things. And with Benny, the same thing. So it is an emotional energy to have your moon in your first house, whereas a lot of people's moon energy will be hidden. Like this is like wearing your heart on your sleeve, talking about mental health. Like you're just very public with your feelings, which also makes sense for a celebrity couple, right? Because people probably will analyze them from time to time. And I don't think that this is going to be the celebrity couple to say no comment. This is going to be the celebrity couple that comments. Okay, and shares their philosophies on life as well. With Sagittarius, they're in the first house. This is the philosopher placement. So Benny did that a little bit already. He went on some podcasts. He was sharing his philosophy on relationships and whatever. And I said in my tarot card reading that he does have a lot to learn. With his strong Aquarius placements, Aquarians can become very philosophical, like in our own minds, similar to Sagittarius energy. But what really resonates and translates to like your everyday life is lived experience. So that's sort of what this relationship is going to give him as well as Selena. But we've definitely seen a little bit of this already in the public eye when they've given their joint interviews. They've been more emotional about things, they've shared more of their feelings, they've let us see a little window into their world. Whereas in the past, I don't know that Selena was that open with the positive things in her life and some of the different things that she is feeling. Okay. All right. Next. It's a lot. It's a lot. So they have a Capricorn ruled second house as a couple. I will say this, their financial placements are insane, insanely good. The second house ruled by Capricorn, your second house is self-esteem, self-worth, and like money, basically how you earn money. And when there is a house that has empty planets, like no planets are in that house, just empty placements. That means that this is not an area of life that you're going to have to really work on, which honestly, astrology in the wild moment, how hilarious. Yeah, I don't think either of them need to worry about money. And I love that neither of them need to worry about self worth either now that they're together. So this indicates that both of them as a couple make each other feel very secure because like I said, the second house is also your self-worth. So Capricorn, wow, Capricorn ruling your self-worth, that's like I am strong, I am a boss. It's like power couple energy, like untouchable, the GOAT, greatest of all time. It's good. It's really good. Like I love that. This tells us that when they are around each other, each one has an equal amount of like love and support for the other. Like they both think each other are the greatest of all time in whatever, you know, financial sense that we're talking about. So like professionally, that's what the second house is like professional stuff. So like Selena thinks that Benny is an amazing producer and she said that and they worked together on her last album and it was really good. A lot of really good songs. And so, he feels worthy in the relationship. He feels puffed up. That made him some money working with her, and vice versa. Benny sees Selena as an amazing talent, not only as a singer, but also as like a businesswoman with rare beauty. So he really has talked about, oh, and an actress. He's talked about how in awe he is of her. So basically, this checks out. Second house, they're not going to have any issues with money in their relationship. All will be well there. And self-esteem wise, they definitely support each other. Capricorn is an earth sign and it's a sign that rules legacy. So they definitely boost each other. Very good. Love that. Third house, this is communication. The third house is ruled by Aquarius and contains Pluto. Very interesting. So, as a couple, they may become more outspoken when it comes to Aquarian causes. And that's like humanitarianism. That could end up being political movements, humanitarian aid, especially with Pluto there, because Pluto is currently in Aquarius and it will be there for the next 20 years. So for them, with the third house ruling communication and like their community and the natal Pluto of their wedding, of their marriage being in that third house, this is the part of their birth chart that is going to be really strengthened. So the part of their marriage that's going to be super strong. There's going to be some challenge there, but ultimately growth and transformation. So, yeah, this is the third house. So, this is going to be a more outspoken version of the two of them, but I think they're going to be using it for good causes. Makes sense with that first house, heart on our sleeve, philosophical, we are the world, we love everyone, Sagittarius energy, acceptance, non-judgment, all of that. And then if you mix that with Pluto in the Aquarius third house, I mean, this truly could be a couple that ends up starting a really important foundation and communicating about issues and causes that we didn't even know, bringing a lot to light. And with Pluto there, bringing transformation and making the world a better place. So I really love that. That's really sweet. Okay, now let's move on to their fourth house, ruled by Pisces. We already talked about this with Saturn and the North Node. Saturn, okay, this makes me very happy. I do love this. Like I said, I was a little concerned. I had a side eye when I first was like, wait, what date are they getting married? Oh my gosh. But once you look at the event chart, it can clear some things up. And for me, this was what I needed to see to feel good about this. With Saturn in the North Node, truly destined to build a strong, solid home together. Saturn, while known as the Lord of Time and the coach of the zodiac, we've talked about Saturn and how, you hear about your Saturn return. Saturn gets a very heavy, kind of a bad rap in astrology. And I will say this about Saturn. Saturn can also be incredibly helpful and actually is incredibly helpful if we're looking at long term. If we're just looking at short term, yes, of course, nobody wants to run that extra mile. But if you are trying to become an athlete or trying to accomplish something physical, you're going to need to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like this is the coach that wants the best for you. And Saturn is also the place in our charts where we have staying power. It's something that's going to develop over time, something that we could see really get super strong later in life. And it's where there's building. And I love that for them, that is happening in their fourth house. Now, with Pisces there, Pisces is extremely emotional. So this also tells me that in the beginning, maybe they have a little bit of confusion around, where do we want to live? Where do we want to spend the most of our time? Who does what in the home? What responsibilities does each person have? But with Saturn in the North Node there, it's going to help them out, and they are meant to master this part of their life. And ultimately, I believe that the fourth house in Pisces with Saturn and North Node, it's going to help them both to develop this like more accepting, more loving, more compassionate attitude. And I do think that that is a big part of their journey with the North Node there. It tells us the purpose, and the purpose is for them to both build and experience a loving home that feels strong and solid. And I don't know what Benny's home life was like growing up, but I do know about Selena's home life and how difficult that was for her. So it makes me really happy to see that she is going to be able to build a stable home as an adult. Really, really beautiful. And that's part of the purpose. Okay. And it's going to feel kind of difficult at first because the North Node is where we want to go. We want to experience that, but we sort of like don't know how to do it, but we figure it out. So she's figuring it out and she's going to figure it out with Saturn there to help. Okay. Then we go to the fifth house ruled by Aries, containing Neptune and Chiron. Okay. The fifth house is the house of children. And I don't like to do like life or death, children. I don't know. Like there are certain things ethically in astrology I just don't like to really talk about. But I will say this, that Neptune and Chiron together, Neptune is like creativity and unconditional love. And Chiron is like our wound, but where we're also here to heal and be a shining light for others. So, with both of those being in Aries, and that being the fifth house of children and fun and creativity, and then with all that energy, lighting up their Aquarius third house with Pluto, I would not be surprised if Selena and Benny became like poster children for like adoption or something. Um, they're going to be healing through doing something different in the fifth house. Aries is where we are a trailblazer. So they are going to be trailblazing when it comes to children, fun, and creativity. So that could be like, another album that they do together that is really unique and different. With Neptune and Chiron, maybe it's going to be something that helps a lot of people to heal. Neptune is also super creative. So it's like a very creative energy. Neptune is also like movies and television. Anything that has to do with like Hollywood is Neptune. So maybe they're going to write screenplays or I don't know, but there's something creative happening here and it's going to be healing. And this also indicates that having children with the fifth house, and that could be adopting children, Selena's talked about that. But however they choose to do it, this is going to be very healing for both of them because with Chiron and Aries, Aries is like yourself, it's your independence and being able to heal that part of you. So I do think that both of them are going to get a lot of positive benefits from all the emphasis on the fourth house and stability with Saturn, the North Node, and then that flowing into the fifth house of creativity and unconditional love and Chiron healing. So I really think that like their home, family, children, however they choose to set that environment up and experience that together, it's going to be a really healing, stabilizing energy. It's like something that they both needed in their lives, and maybe they didn't even know it because the North Node can be like things I didn't even know I needed, and Neptune as well. Neptune can reveal things that used to be hidden to us that now we understand. So there could be a breakthrough when it comes to their creativity or children, but whatever it is, I think they're going to be outspoken about it, and I think it's going to be healing not just for them but for others. So looking forward to that. I think that's really beautiful. Sixth house ruled by Taurus. No notes. They don't have any planets in their Taurus sixth house. The sixth house is health and day to day routines. To be honest, with Taurus being ruled by Venus, this just tells us that they're going to have a beautiful day to day life. Makes sense. I'm sure they have like people to help them. I'm sure they have a beautiful environment. Taurus also can indicate a little bit of laziness. So I think they have to be careful that when they spend time together, that they don't allow themselves to, like, get to the point where they're enjoying their the luxuries of life so much that they feel stagnant, because they have a little bit of a restless chart as well. So it's gonna take balance, and they have to be really careful that as they spend every day together, the day-to-day rhythm, your 6th house, as a married couple, it's Taurus. So this is like, we wanna sleep in together, we wanna eat really decadent foods, and they've talked about their love of cooking together. Who knows? Maybe they start doing more family cooking videos, or they write a cookbook together, or maybe it's Selena and Chef and Benny, like, with her show. So I don't know, but there's nothing here. So that tells you there's nothing to work on. It's not like an area of concern. It just makes me giggle a little bit because as someone with a Taurus ruled fourth house, um, can relate. If I spend too much time at home and I don't stay on top of like my schedule and like my motivation, I can become very much the little sleep in, like, oh, sleepy person where like it's hard to get moving. So that's what they have in their sixth house. Highly relatable. This is eating cookies in bed. And the thing I like about this, honestly, is that like it's low pressure and both of them being at the place that they are in their careers, I don't mind seeing a Taurus ruled sixth house because this can also be positive in the sense that Taurus is traditionally associated with self worth in the zodiac because on the wheel, it's the second house after it's the second zodiac sign after Aries. So when we're just talking about astrology, like universally, Taurus is associated with self-worth, self-mastery, building a solid foundation, money, what we believe we're worth, what we feel like we deserve, what we've earned, all of those themes. And with them having an empty second house, it makes sense that they would also have an empty earth sign 6th house because the two kind of flow with a lot of the same themes. And it's sort of like they've earned it, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's okay. They're kind of in a stage of life now where they want to enjoy their life together. And having Taurus, a Venus ruled sign, lording over your day-to-day life is just sort of like we're enjoying the sweetness of life together now as a couple. I think it's nice. I like it. This is not like a workaholic couple. Okay. So the 7th house is partnerships. So this one's important. So we're going to kind of pay a little attention here. Okay. So this is where I start to get a little nervous. There's a couple houses where, like I said, the event chart's not going to tell us something bad will happen, okay? Astrology, it's never going to tell you something bad is going to happen, right? It's just like where you could have tendencies that you need to look out for. That's kind of the way I want us to frame this in our minds. But the 7th house for them is ruled by Gemini, and it contains Uranus. I just don't like that, okay? I'm going to be really real with you guys, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. And anything in astrology you can overcome, especially if you're aware of it. You know what I mean? The more you know, the more you can just be like, hey, I'm going to look out for that and make sure I don't slip up in that way. Or, we communicate about these themes so we're on the same page. Astrology is just a tool. It's up to us what we do with it. But the 7th house, let's just go down this rabbit hole for a second. So the 7th house is the house of partnerships. It's also the house of open enemies, okay? And typically when we think about open enemies, it's not something that we really talk about too much in astrology. It's kind of intense, like open enemies. But this would be people like on social media or the press that say things directly about you, okay? Also, this could be open enemies as far as like people that people you've had issues with, people who show up as an enemy, but they come in the form of a friend with Gemini ruling this house. Gemini is it's the sign of the twins. So this makes me think of her one friend that there was some controversy about, the one. And it was a little icky, right? And we never really got like a true and true or a true like confirmation of what exactly happened. But there was definitely some weirdness. And Selena Gomez unfollowed her friend after Benny was spotted out having lunch with this friend without Selena when she was touring. And it was weird. It was definitely weird. So Gemini 7th house containing Uranus. I really don't like this. I would have had them get married another day, to be honest. But here we are. Uranus is, it has to do with like surprises. It could also have to do with technology, but I don't think that really applies here. The part that does apply though is surprises. And in Gemini, with there being that energy that could be, hidden or two-faced or more than one type of vibe, I don't love this. So they have to be very careful when it comes to their relationship that they surround themselves with people who are very genuine. Like if they get a vibe that someone is not a true friend, or if they sense that somebody is like, let's say, selling stories about them to the press, you know, that would be something to pay attention to, because with the 7th house ruling your open enemies, like this could be like your downfall, as well as the positive things going on in your relationship. So that's like the downfall part. Okay. It's like be careful of people who come to you with a smile, but they are, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And be be careful to communicate. Gemini is the sign of communication. Be careful to make sure that you guys communicate so that there are no surprises, because that could be very harmful. And that is also how you could go from friends to enemies. You know what I mean? Like in the relationship, in the marriage. This is like where things could go really, really well, or things could go really, really south. So you want to look at the 7th house energy very closely and understand what the different dynamics are here. So for them, they just have to be careful that they're on the same page, always communicating, pay attention to the people around them. this could be a couple that does draw a lot of gossip towards them, which definitely they already have. And that I don't think that's going to slow down. I think they're always going to be the subject of gossip. However, with the phrase, as like PR is good, like whatever, no PR is bad or whatever. If they are in the public eye and that's what they continue to do, then I definitely think that they will continue to be successful. Empty second house, empty sixth house, they're not going to be working too hard. Things are going to go well for them. So they can use that. But yeah, this is Uranus and Gemini. This is also like things coming out via social media. So just be careful of social media. I would say, um, I don't know. Both of them just need to be careful with their social media use, and they need to be sure that the people around them are genuine. And on the positive side, they need to be sure that they keep like very, very strong communication. Okay. Because Gemini rules their seventh house. So this is like the energy that they bring in their relationship is communicative. Gemini is fun and lively and creative. And Uranus does love to be in Gemini. So that's a positive thing. Um, on the bright side, Uranus can be, surprise and fun. So rather than let Uranus bring you some bad surprises, I would say this: keep your communication super solid. And as you are letting people come into your home with the fourth house ruled by Pisces, be sure that you guys are always on the same page and be sure that you're always communicating your boundaries with each other and the boundaries that you want for, other people that come into your home. So this is basically them needing to always have just a united front so that the surprises stay fun surprises like, a trip out of the blue and not negative surprises like, I don't know, something came out on social media about us that we didn't want anyone to know. So, okay, there's that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, please. I want to know your interpretation as well, because this is a little juicy. Okay, now we go to the eighth house. This is super good. This is super positive. So, the eighth house is ruled by Cancer, and Cancer is emotional and loving and protective. And the eighth house is shared resources, joint finances, contracts, intimacy. So, it's truly like the hidden nature of the couple and what they bring into the relationship that they share. Okay. And that's like everything from finances to like secrets. And Cancer, I love that. Cancer is a great zodiac sign to have over the eighth house because this tells us that there's always going to be a protective nature that they share over the things that they exchange with each other. So it's like they're both very protective of like their shared finances and they both take it very seriously. Like Cancer is not flippant. So it's like, if Benny wants to buy something, he's going to check with Selena and vice versa. Like they're going to be very respectful and emotional about what they share. And it's going to be very much on the same page, especially because this is trine their Pisces fourth house. So again, really good with stability. Okay. I love that Cancer is the eighth house. Pisces is the fourth house. This is really good. Like positive emotional energy around everything that we are building together, everything we're sharing together. The eighth house is also where you build wealth as a couple. So they're going to be building wealth through emotion. Cancer is also one of the millionaire zodiac signs. So they're already millionaires, on their own. But this is like, I mean, truly building a legacy and a lot of wealth that's going to continue. And they have Jupiter in their eighth house, and Jupiter is one of the benefics. So really, really lovely. Really, really beautiful. I know I said that I didn't like the Gemini seventh house, but I think if they stay on top of it, then just given this Cancer eighth house containing Jupiter, trying the fourth house with Pisces and Saturn and North Node, I'm like, okay, well maybe it's a good thing actually. Like it might cancel it out. It's that good. But it's really, really positive. So I love that. Okay. Ninth house ruled by Leo, an empty house because Leo is on the stage. Leo's the performer. And neither of them need to work on that. They both have mastered performing and being a celebrity, basically. Leo's celebrity energy. And the ninth house is international. And yeah, Selena is an international celebrity, and now Benny is too for being associated with her. So no notes there, no planets there, nothing to work on. It's just, it already is what it is for them. Okay, 10th house. Here's where it gets interesting again. The 10th house for them is ruled by Virgo and contains Venus. Now, what's really good about this, with them being a public facing couple, your 10th house is your public image. It is the way that people see you when you are, from far away on your Instagram, or like winning an award at your job, or like the 10th house is like your career and image. It is the way the world views you. And for them, both being celebrities and this being something that I assume they want to continue to do, Virgo is really nice for them because, first of all, Virgo is like the friend, the healer. Virgo's an energy that people feel like they can trust. It's also like got this kind of solid, hardworking kind of vibe. So I really like that for them. Like people can trust a Virgo. There's a goodness that people kind of feel radiating from people with strong Virgo placements. So that's really nice. When they're together, they radiate this goodness. And then add Venus into the mix. With Venus at the highest point of their chart, this tells us that they will be seen overall in a very positive light. And it definitely highlights those Virgo qualities of like goodness and healing, and like you can trust them. So, publicly, as far as their image goes, this is an image glow up for both. I mean, this is like a very upstanding, think like, okay, Dolly Parton has, like, I believe Virgo rising. Yes, Dolly Parton has Virgo rising. And think about Dolly Parton. People think of them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're just so sweet." Like, people think of Dolly Parton as like an American treasure, and she is. She absolutely is. There's like a goodness and like a kindness that comes from them. So I think that with Benny and Selena, the more they grow and the more they continue to evolve as a couple, we're going to see more of this like sweetness and kindness. They could even be solidified as like, with like the American couple that's like America's sweethearts. You know what I mean? Very sweet. I do like that a lot. Okay, next, 11th house, ruled by Libra. Now, their 11th house contains the sun and Mercury, making it incredibly important. So the 11th, I'm telling you, this is where we get some glow up, and then we get one more area of concern in the 12th house, and then we're good to go. Okay, so the 11th house, ruled by Libra, again, love this because the 11th house is like your hopes and your wishes and your dreams, and like dreams coming true. And also like your circle, like your social circle, and like humanitarian causes, which they already have major purpose when it comes to Pluto and Aquarius in their third house. So this kind of goes along with that theme of like creating positive change, communicating about positive changes, and like helping to push society forward in a certain way. Well, the 11th house ruled by Libra. Libra is like balance and harmony, and Libra's ruled by Venus. So it's like sweetness and beauty. And the sun and Mercury here, like this is like the way that we talk, our egos, our image, Mercury, the way we communicate, the way we speak and think, this now has a Libran quality, because as a couple, we present ourselves with this like beautiful, harmonious flow. This is a couple that can really navigate social situations well. They're well liked in their social circle. They have a certain like there's like a melodic kind of feeling, like when they walk in a room, it's like, "Oh my gosh, Benny and Selena are here." Like there's that kind of energy of like just harmony and like sweetness. Like, oh my gosh, it's like the couple that everybody's happy to see show up, and the couple that people are like, "Don't leave yet." So that's really sweet. They'll also have a very strong friend group. This is a couple that's going to have a lot of people around that they communicate with Mercury there, they collaborate with. Um, the sun, they're going to shine in their social groups. So I do think that socially, they're going to have a lot of shared friends that rally around them, and they're going to remain really strong. This could be the couple that hosts the Halloween party, the Christmas party. That's kind of the energy that we have here. It's a very social, very happy, really positive energy. I love that. Now, I forgot to mention something that stuck out to me. Let's move back to the 10th house one more time. So, I talked about the 10th house in Virgo, and I was really surprised to see Selena Gomez's wedding dress in particular, because she is a Leo rising and she has a lot of like Leo placements, Aries moon. So I was thinking that her wedding dress was going to be less traditional and more like J Lo, or like, do you know what I mean? Just over the top in a way that's very like wabam. And instead, it's very like Grace Kelly, very demure, very beautiful, very elegant. Those are all like words to describe Virgo energy. Virgo is like the goddess, the maiden. Like it's kind of this like kind of beautiful, like healer type of energy. And with the 10th house being ruled by Virgo, their public image, the highest part of their chart, and Venus here. Venus is the way things look. So it makes sense that their wedding was actually very demure, very mindful, very like, very Virgo. Like, I thought that her dress was very Virgo and her hair was very Virgo. It's like Virgo has it's so funny because Virgo's ruled by Mercury, and much like the Mercury ruled Gemini, Virgos really do I meet a lot of Virgos that have like, it's like you're either kinda one thing or the other, and I don't know if that has to do with Mercury or what, but Virgos, like, you're either like a Beyonce Virgo or you're like a Dolly Parton Virgo rising. Or you're like, I don't know, who's a Virgo? I'll have to find one. I'll have to find one and, like, put a picture up here. Or you're like a Virgo that is, like, very demure, very mindful Virgo. And a lot of the time, there will be 2 sides to Virgos as well, like a public side and then, like, a private side. But that's something we can talk about at a different time. Anyway, very interesting. I did think that this very demure, very mindful, everything that's traditionally associated with the Virgo aesthetic, we saw that with her wedding dress. And I thought that was really interesting, and it made a lot of sense, actually, now that we know that Venus is in Virgo in their 10th house, so it all kinda checks out. Astrology in the wild making sense of everything. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, certainly not. Okay, brace yourselves for this one, you guys. This is the one other negative thing I have to say, along with the Uranus surprises when it comes to enemies and two-faced vibes and don't keep secrets type of thing. This is another thing that kind of goes along with that storyline. So their 12th house is ruled by Scorpio and contains Mars, Scorpio's ruler. That again, that it's like their birth chart, it's like all gas, and then we come to a couple points and it's like all brakes. That's a tough one. Okay. And this is why. So Scorpio is associated with the underworld, right? It's associated with Hades, and we talk about the scorpion. We talk about themes that Scorpios kind of work through, which is like revenge and anger and darkness. And then once a Scorpio is evolved, they can be like the eagle, which is also associated with Scorpio. But I don't know how many Scorpios get to eagle status, which is why I don't think that it's commonly thought of. Okay. Most people associate Scorpios with the scorpion because that is sort of like the middle of the road Scorpio energy. It's a little bit vindictive. It's kind of closed off. It's a little hard to read. They make amazing investigators and spies and all those kinds of things. But the 12th house is already a little challenging because the 12th house rules secrets, places of confinement, hospitals. And I don't think it's a hospital thing. I'm just listing the things for y'all. But the 12th house is like secrets and clandestine affairs. This is all alleged for entertainment purposes only. Okay, guys, don't anybody get upset because we just don't know. And this is just an exploration of the ways energy can play out. Again, free will. They can totally choose not to do this. And I don't think they will based on how strong their fourth house is. If they want to remain stable, then, the fact that their fourth house is ruled by Pisces and their eighth house is ruled by Cancer with Jupiter, like this is a couple that has an amazing, amazing life together that they are building together. But the only thing that can mess it up is not being mindful of this Scorpio 12th house. And the two ways that that could happen is resentment and hidden anger, because Mars in the 12th house can be hiding our anger, letting things just boil under the surface until they finally explode, and that's like nobody even knowing that they had these disagreements. And then one day, you find out they've filed for divorce, and that would also be a very Uranus and Gemini story, right? Just like a shock about their seventh house relationship. So they have to be really careful that they, again, keep things out in the open, especially anger and frustration. Because if you hide your anger, if you hide your frustration, if you just keep trying to like go along to get along, make things okay, whatever, like over time, you're going to build frustration and resentment. And then what could flow from that, the other thing that is concerning about Mars and Scorpio in the 12th house for a marriage is that the 12th house rules clandestine affairs. And this is like a clandestine affair is like something that is a secret that is not meant to be found out. And this could be, I'm just going to give an example, not manifesting this, not wishing this on anybody. It's just an example of the energy. This could be one of them having an acting role, appearing on set. Maybe they're frustrated with their partner. They've been hiding a lot of anger for a while, and they have really great chemistry with their on-screen partner, and a clandestine affair ensues. Mars and Scorpio in the 12th house. And this would be something that would never be intended to come out, but with Uranus in their 7th house, it probably would. So, the thing that they have to really be careful of is they have to realize that what's done in the darkness will always come to light, and if they indulge in, too much anger, Mars energy, too much fighting behind closed doors, or a clandestine affair, that's going to come to the surface and it can really mess up, the Pisces 4th house with their North Node and Saturn and stability and Cancer ruled 8th house with Jupiter there and all the expansion and building emotional intimacy and you know being able to rely on each other and build a legacy together. That's the only thing that could really mess it up. And I think that we saw that a little bit, that 7th house and 12th house um, play out before they even got married with all those rumors about that one friend, that one fake friend. Okay. So that is my assessment of Benny and Selena's event chart with their wedding. Let me know what you guys think. Did y'all think that was interesting? Have you ever done an event chart before? Check out the Patreon. I'm going to tell you guys how to do it. We're going to go through how some of these things can happen. And I'm going to spill a little behind the scenes tea on Michael and I's relationship and tell you about our event chart. All right, guys. I love you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know your thoughts. And if you guys want to join the Patreon, that link is if you guys want to join the Patreon, that link is below. And also, I have joined Like to Know It. That's a new little thing I'm doing where I'm sharing my outfits that I wear, including outfits from the podcast and my TV show. And, when I go out on date night, because why not? Why not? So I do get a little bit of a commission if anybody does decide to buy anything from my Like to Know It disclaimer. But I started doing it as like a creative outlet, really, just to kind of like put my fashion stuff up because I love fashion and style. I really do. And I was like, why not? Why not? So, okay. Anyway, love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.